Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fem City Business class. Today we have a great topic, happiness. Are you holding yourself back? And we have a great teacher. We have had this teacher, as you can see her on the screen, if you're watching right now. We've had her many, many times. She has been a great contributor to our Fem City Library. We appreciate so much when we get a chance to listen to Dr. Melinda Hill. Dr. Melinda Hill is a Fem City Founder Circle member. She also is an executive and professional coach for leadership, development, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and she is a mental fitness coach, which I feel like that piece is going to come into what we're talking about today as well. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you for doing this class today, Dr. Melinda.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Anytime I get to serve the things in the community, I'm just always excited to be able to do so. And so today, we're going to talk about a leadership topic. Leadership, I mean self-leadership.
Can I interrupt 1 second? I feel like our sound is a little bit funny again. I'm not sure if it's just me hearing it. If anyone else can test, give us a little message maybe in the chat.
Testing.
That sounds better. When you say testing, it was better. It got a little muffly. I'll pop back in if I think it's funny, but I'm gonna remove myself now.
Fine.
Thank you.
All right. I am going to talk a little bit about happiness. And I always call it it's leadership applicable because we are leaders of ourselves. And so it's a self-leadership topic. And we're talking about mental fitness. I'm not a physical fitness, but I love talking about mental fitness. And so that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. And it's a happiness challenge. And are you holding yourself? Self-leadership. And so I'm looking at the messages here and it says still sound is bad. Let's see here. If I can. Yeah, it sounds really bad. Sorry about that. Let me see what else I can do. It sort of comes and goes. Okay, how about that? I changed just a little bit.
I think that sounds better. Let's try. And if anyone wants to comment again, if they hear it, that would be great. Yeah, thank you.
Please let me know. So we'll jump right in and talk about mental fitness. It's a happiness challenge. And I'm asking the question, are you holding yourself down? And so how do you define happiness? Well, happiness comes and goes with every moment, every second, every hour. Happiness can and will change. And I like to talk about this subject in the lens of self-leadership because you are absolutely in control of how you feel moment to moment to moment. And so that's why I'm asking you, how do you define happiness and that you are definitely in control of your happiness? And so it's normal for us to experience ups and downs. That's just life. But if you're waiting for the perfect moment to be happy, that's what we're going to look at. So, according to science, your happiness level is a mix of your genes, your behavior, and your life circumstances. From having an attitude of gratitude, which we talk a lot about in Fem City, gratitude, happiness isn't something that's sought after. Happiness is something that's done on the inside. And so that's what we want to focus on today. And so I like to get into what stops us from being happy. Who is your saboteur? What's sabotaging you? And we go to a Japanese restaurant a lot of the times, and we just went this weekend because my husband and my daughter both had birthdays, and one of the guys he always has. And so you like to ask that question, like, who's in the driver's seat? Your saboteurs are the voices in your head that generate this negative emotion as you handle everyday life challenges. They represent these automatic patterns that are in your mind that dictate how you think, how you feel, and how you respond. And your saboteurs cause all your stress, your self doubt, your frustration, your anxiety, and your unhappiness. And so the first step in talking about what defines happiness is finding out what gets in the way. So we have a master saboteur, and it's called the judge. The judge is the ringleader. I call her, in high school, we got the mean girl. She's like the top mean girl. So it's a universal saboteur that affects everyone, beats you up regularly over your mistakes and your shortcomings, warns you obsessively about future risks, wakes you up in the middle of the night. So if you're up in the middle of the night and your mind is wondering and you're worried, then that means you're not in control of your mind. Your saboteurs are in control. And so your judge can activate other saboteurs. That's what I call them mean girls, because doesn't just come with one saboteur. Have accomplice. So much of that stress, unhappiness, and reduces your effectiveness and harms relationships are the judge and the mean girls that go along with their accomplice. So we talk about saboteurs because they motivate you through negative emotions like shame, insecurity, overwhelm, and doubt. But then we also have sage, which motivates you through positive emotions like empathy, curiosity, purpose, passion, and vision. So if you're over here in the left side of your brain, you're hijacked. Over here in the right side of your brain, that's your sage. And that's where we want to live. Um, so we might ask, do saboteurs generate happiness? They might generate success, but not happiness. So the sage part of you generates this high success. You have much greater chance of high success when you are over here in this right side region of your brain. All right, so let's talk about it. Do any of these saboteurs sound familiar? The avoider. You're focusing on positive and pleasant in an extreme way, avoiding difficult and unpleasant tasks and conflicts. You just shove it under the rug and think it's going to go away. That's called the avoider. Raise your hand if it's you. No, you don't have to raise your hand. You can be there by yourself. Or the pleaser. The pleaser indirectly tries to gain acceptance and affection by helping, pleasing, rescuing, and flattering others. They can kind of lose sight of their own needs and in the end can become resentful. Any pleasers in the room? Then we have hyper-rational. There is an intense and exclusive focus on rational processing, including relationships. And they can be perceived as uncaring, unfeeling, and intellectually arrogant. What about the hyperachiever? They're dependent on constant performance and achievement for self respect and self validation. The latest achievement quickly is discounted and they need more. So they just keep on going and keep on going. And then you have the controller. This is an anxiety based need to take charge and control situations and people's actions to one's own will. This high anxiety and impatience, it's just not possible. And can you imagine a controller if you have a manager or you and they're a micromanager, they may be a controller. Then you have the restless. They're constantly in search of greater excitement for the next activity or the constant busyness, rarely at peace, or they're not content with the current activity. They're not here in the now, being mindful of the moment. They're always here or there. So negative emotions. Your saboteurs, they claim that they're good for you. Your judge will tell you that, that constant badgering helps you overcome your mistakes and your shortcomings. But those shortcomings help you improve and help you achieve. That's what your judge would say. Um, but when you are in negative emotion, it's good for maybe a second. Staying in the negative emotion hurts your ability to clearly respond with empathy, curiosity, creativity, and laser focused action. So if you're always judging someone's behavior or the way they talk or what they look like, you can't greet them or respond to them with empathy. You can't do the same negative and positive in the same interaction. And so is pain good for you? We all know that pain is good. If you put your hand on a hot stove, you're going to feel the pain, and it's good because you know you're going to take your hand off the hot stove. So negative emotions, which are similar to pain, are only helpful for that quick second to alert you that you're frustrated, you're stressed, you're unhappy, and you need to change that. And you can do that within a moment. In a moment. So that negative emotion, if it's more than 1 second, you are hijacked by your saboteurs. So you want to get your hand off the hot stove. So how do you do that? Great, Melinda. That's good information. Like you talking. So that's the principle. What's the practice? The practice is to increase your mental fitness to increase your happiness. And so how do you do that, Melinda? Okay, you have to intercept that judge. When I started this training 2 years ago, after my first week of intercepting the judge, I really had to ask myself who's been in the driver's seat, especially in my relationship with my husband, been married 30 years. And I realized that that judgmental attitude was not me. I was not my true, authentic self. My judge had been in the driver's seat. At that time, it was 28 years. I'm like, oh my gosh. So recognizing the judge is the first step to making changes toward happiness on this journey of being happy. And so there are three core muscles, just like in the gym. If you go to the gym, you go to the gym to build muscles and to decrease your cholesterol or decrease your A1C. You have to get in the gym to do those things. And the same thing to increase your happiness. You have to have your saboteur interceptor, self command, and then move over to your sage side of your brain. And so, what does that look like? Just telling yourself to stop. That's you intercepting. Stop. Tell the judge to stop. Mine's called Judge Judy. Like, stop, girl, stop. And then you need to get over to your right side of your brain because that's where your positive emotions, your calm, your clear focus, your creativity, and your big picture. That's where the sage part of you, your true essence, your true authentic self lives in the right side sage part of your brain. And so the sage perspective is every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and an opportunity. Every one of them. And so I would like scan my life and I would think, like, what are some things that have happened in my life that have been a gift or an opportunity? So most people would not call stage 3 colon cancer a gift. I had stage 3 colon cancer. I'm 12 years cancer free. For me, that was a gift because I walked through that journey, and my journey, I felt like someone needed to hear my journey. And so that experience got me into public speaking. Now I'm a leadership coach, all because of that experience. So even Stage 3 colon cancer, and people die all the time from it, can be a gift because it was a gift to me. So every outcome and circumstance can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. You have to be intentional about finding it. And so once you stop yourself and you say, hey, judge, stop, then you need to do something called mental fitness. And these are 10-second reps. And so now when I catch my judge, I'll say, stop. Then I celebrate. I just found a letter. I just found a letter. I just found my judge. I found her. And I'm stopping her. I'm celebrating. And then I'm going to go and do some reps, just like going to the gym. Reps, 10-second reps. And I'll teach you one rep. Now take your thumb and your index finger and rub them together with such intensity that you feel your fingertip ridges. So if you're really concentrating on your fingertip ridges, you're not in your you're not in your head thinking, you're in your body. And so another one I love to use when I'm in a meeting, just pay attention to the rise and fall of your chest. I'm still listening to the speaker. And the difference between mental fitness and meditation is because in meditation, which I do a lot, my eyes are closed. But with mental fitness, you are still engaged. Fingers, your breath, listening to the sound, like furthest away sound that you hear right now. I can still be in a meeting and be present. And so those are a few 10-second, what's called PQ reps, mental fitness. You go to the gym. And so it's a really simple operating system. If you feel negative emotions, stop in the name of love and happiness. Do some PQ reps to quiet your saboteur and activate your sage. Traffic, it's really that simple. And assume the sage perspective that every problem can be converted to a gift and opportunity, and generate the gift with sage powers like empathy. Like someone's really being mean to you. You have a coworker that's really mean. So if they're mean to you, just imagine being empathetic, like they're probably really mean with themselves as well. And I try to imagine them as their 5-year-old self when they had this perfect sage. And then I'll respond to them as the 5-year-old in my mind, giving them grace, that little person who was full of sage, and I can be more empathetic, or using curiosity, creativity, calm, and clear headed action and being focused. And so, is it really possible to shift from the saboteur to the sage, even in tough, challenging times? It is. But the speed and the depth of that shift depends on how you build your mental muscle. And you're in control every moment to moment to moment, whether you're happy, feeling positive emotion, or whether you're feeling negative emotion. And so it only requires 15 minutes a day, 6 to 8 weeks for you to get a new neural pathway. You're really rewiring your brain. And we have a positive intelligence program. It's 6 weeks. You watch 1 hour video a week, foundational lesson, 15 minutes of practice a day in an app. You read some chapters, first 8 chapters of book called Positive Intelligence, and through that app for a year, you continue to develop mental fitness with Shirzana Shaman. He's a professor at Stanford, and it's for one whole year. And it does take that to rewire your brain. Um, I'm going to put this here. There was some logistics. If you take a picture of that, you'll get a brochure breakdown of what mental fitness looks like for 6 to 8 weeks. If you're interested in a mastermind, I have a mastermind starting on October the 15th at 7 p.m. EST. If you want to take a screenshot of the mastermind, and we'll go through that together. And so, as a leader, this is self leadership. You're leading yourself on this journey of happiness, and it requires rewiring your brain. We also have positive intelligence programs for organizations. So, if you're looking to bring a wellness program to your organization, you have an annual subscription for your team. Um, And that's how you grow your teams and grow your organizations, and so that you're all on the same page of this positive journey, serving each other with empathy, with curiosity, and laser focus. So thank you for your time. If you want to reach out to me, here's my website, as well as you can send me an email if you want to have talk a little bit more about mental fitness and how to rewire your brain for happiness. I'd be glad to have a coffee chat or a discovery meeting with you, because it does take work. It takes focus to rewire your neural pathways for happiness. So thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you so much for that. I have a couple of comments or questions that were coming up, if that's okay. I don't see anything else for questions in the comments, but if anyone has them, please go ahead and we have a few more minutes still with
Yes,
Linda.
absolutely.
Thank you. First of all, when I think about this process you were talking about with the mental fitness and this, the negative thought, the judge, stop moving it to this, finding something positive. I feel like I've known people in my life that almost naturally were better at that. And I wonder if it's probably something that was taught to them during their family life or whatever. And then I've known people that are so far from that it feels like that would be so hard for them. And so when you were describing this mental fitness, and I was thinking about the going to the gym, it made total sense. Some people are already kind of in shape and some people are not, and they have further to go. So I can see that it would be different for everybody too, but it does make sense that it really takes a year to change those neural pathways, which is almost another whole class you could teach about what that means. But really, it does mean that you can change the sort of wiring of your brain, is how I would, if I'm saying that correctly, where your way you think about things can be different. And that is so exciting. It is so exciting to think that we can be happier
Yes.
naturally, and learn to be happier. Yeah. I've had, yeah, I get about the judge. I get that sometimes you can say stop, and then sometimes it's hard to move to the next thing. Like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking of that. Stop thinking that thought. Stop thinking that thought.
Yes, the judge is relentless. It's
Relentless.
relentless. I'm talking Judge Judy, and I can get a handle on something. And as many times as my judge pop up, I'm a hyperachiever. As many times as the judge and the accomplice, I have to stop it. And so sometimes I can stop it and quickly get back over. And then sometimes it takes me just a little longer. It depends on what the circumstance is. And then, like you said, some people, it seems like it's more innate for others. It just maybe environment. If you were raised by a negative mind, then that negativity in your environment may have rubbed off on you, and it may take a little bit more work,
Mhm.
because your mindset, the brain is just sees negative or responds negatively, and it takes rewiring those neural pathways. Yes, absolutely.
Love it. And we have a comment. I love the fingertip thing. What a great way to refocus on what's in front of you instead of what's inside your head. And
And
it's
that's what you're
easy.
doing. You're getting out of your mind, because your mind can be your best friend or your worst foe. You're getting out of your mind and into your body.
Mhm.
so you can be more present. And when you're more present, I'm happy when I can show up with my kids, and I'm more present. So when they walk in the room, I'm looking at their eyes. I'm doing PQ reps on their eyes when they walk in the room. So I'm present. I'm here. I'm now. Yeah. So it does take practice, and there's some different ways that you can do PQ reps. Yeah, absolutely. Not your breathing, your fingertips, 10 toes, moving all of your 10 toes, focusing on your toes. Sometimes that's what you're doing when you're in meetings. You're trying to get out of your head, especially if you're like, oh, Lord, what's she talking about? I wish they would just get yourself back in line. Yeah.
Mm. And I also want to say that it's such great work for our personal lives, but also for our business. You know, I was on a call with someone today, and they got something that they thought they perceived as bad news. It was an
Mhm.
email. I got the same one, but there was a piece that she didn't read, and I didn't either when I first read it. And then I was like, no, 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 I've gotten these ones before. I got to look further. I think there's something else in it. And it wasn't a negative thing. And she shared with me that it kind of bothered her. And it was, she was in her head about it when she was going to do some next tasks that were around the same business. And so as you were teaching this right now, I was thinking, what a great way to be able to, take yourself out of those negative thoughts, because she was taking it a little bit personally, which I understood she would have. And then it affects her productivity of what was going to happen later in the day. So it's so important.
Yes, absolutely. It drains your energy. Your judges and the accomplices drain your energy, beat you up like you went outside for recess in elementary school and they just beat you up. And you just don't have the energy to do what it is that you need to do. You don't have the energy to lead well. You don't have the energy to motivate yourself well. You don't have the energy when you come home to mother well, because your saboteurs have been beating you up and taking your energy all day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. And so, of course, you're going to have negative things happen, but you can choose in the moment. I can accept and convert it later. It's not to say that you don't ever get to think and deal with this. I'm going to accept it right now in this moment. But tonight, I'm going to go ahead and convert that. I'm going to spend 30 minutes thinking about and thinking through that. But right now, in this moment, I'm accepting that it happened. And I'm going to get back on over here in my sage brain. I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, it's awesome. Self leadership. That's great. Well, thank you
Self-leadership.
so much for this. I really appreciate you so much that you say yes when we ask, and you have so much to share. We could have you on here all the time. So really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's my absolute pleasure. You want to know more? Just reach out to me, Melinda Chill. I can just help you do that. MelindaChill.com. And I'd be glad to talk to you a little bit more about mental fitness. Yeah. Getting in that gym and rewiring that brain for your health and your happiness.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You have a comment. So great. Thank you. That's great. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us. Bye now.
Thank you.